Alright, what is going on, guys? Crypto Mac here, bringing another crypto video. Today we're going to take a look at Sandbox and do a update video on Sand and a 2022 outlook. Happy New Year's to everyone. Today is first day of 2022, so pretty exciting. Obviously, I'm pretty bullish on 2022 with crypto. I think a lot of coins are going to make some massive moves. I think the whole market's going to perform pretty well. That's at least the idea. That's what we hope for. I think Sandbox can have a really solid year. We know the NFT space is continuing to grow and develop. The metaverse is becoming more adopted and just growing and developing itself, which is just bullish and allows for coins like Sand and many other coins to make these parabolic moves, which other high cap altcoins struggle to do because, well, high cap is hard. When you have high market capitalization, it's hard to make parabolic moves, but with big news coming out for these coins, with all metaverse related and all that, it allows for these coins to make pretty staggering moves. So, yeah, just want to say this video is not financial advice, guys, so please do your own research. So looking at Sand on the short term, we can see this falling wedge forming. Been a lot of falling wedges take place lately. So we have this one forming, which is pretty nice. We're currently in the top line. Hopefully we can break out of this and head upwards. That'd be really ideal. The price target for this, if you have a look, price target's about $7.20, which is pretty nice to get back up to there. And on the bigger time frame, there is a cup and handle in formation as well for Sand, which is also pretty nice. If we have a look, we can draw it here, so we can see right here. The cup begins here, right? If we draw the line, this line across, you can see that resistance line right there. And so we have the cup. Whoops, we have the cup is here, followed by this handle, which is kind of that falling wedge we see. So the cup and handle's in play, and if you have a look at the price target on this, it's pretty high as well. And we can see Sand, if we were to break this line, make some pretty solid moves. So we can see the target is about $9.40. It's obviously going to break. That would break that all-time high level, which would not just be easy, but we definitely could do it. There could be some resistance along the way if we can get back up to this line. So the level to break is at $6.80 range. If we can get up to there and break this, that'd be really big for Sand to break that. We'll probably have to confirm this breakout, I would say. Would be a likely scenario. Confirm it, head up. Obviously, between these two lines, can be resistance as well. The all-time high and then this local top there would be pretty important to break through those. And once we break through those lines, well, then we could probably have clear skies to that $9.40 target, where we could then see another consolidation period or a little pullback, I would estimate. Because that would be a pretty solid move. As we can see right there, that's 60% move. When you see a move like that, usually will be due for a pullback or a little bit of a consolidation period off that. But very bullish. Cup and handles a very nice pattern. We can see it already starting to head upwards. We can see that, and here's our bottom. So hopefully we just see a trend up like this. This was, a relatively steep decline, and therefore we could see a relatively steep incline as well to get back up to that price and break that level of resistance, which would be bullish. And then, as I said, we're back above the all-time highs, which is just so important and optimistic to, to be in reach of all-time highs at this point where the market's at, with like Bitcoin at 47,000. So Bitcoin's not really close to its all-time high, right? It's quite a ways off. But Sand is relatively close. We can see this pattern playing out would just break that all-time high, which is very good. If you look at a lot of other altcoins, well, most of them are pretty fair way away from their all-time highs, which is not, that's not exactly what you want. So it's good to see Sand close to breaking that. As I said, break this first line for the short term. To break this falling wedge is the first thing to break, then break this line of resistance around that $6.80 mark, $6.90. Then we head up to $9.40. And again, I'm talking, this might take another month to play out, potentially 2 months. I think it's also going to be hard for this to play out when Bitcoin is trading so low. Hopefully Bitcoin can see another bounce and get above the bull market support band. We've been rejected about twice now, so we want to test that and get above that bull market support band. And then that'll just give a lot of coins that little confidence push to to head higher and break those resistance lines, which is always pretty important. Another thing to look at here is this kind of resistance line, which we did break, but it was obviously a fake out. We can see we broke out, but we came back in, and again we got rejected. So obviously some key resistance along this line. We're currently right on the line here at about $6. So hopefully we can break this and head up. That'd be pretty good in this descending channel to break this target. You can see right here we've started that the Fibonacci extension, having a look. So just to reiterate that cup and handle, which we talked about just then, it's sort of in this period here. Here's the handle right there, and then the cup is formed right there, we can see, and obviously the price target is from this level here. So this is our cup and handle. We need to break this downward line. I just said that, and once we do break that line, we can hopefully have a move to the upside, break this line, and we go up, which is always nice. So one thing we can do is look at the Fibonacci extension level. As I said, like, I want to do some price predictions on sand to give my 2022 opinion where I think sand could go. I think it's always pretty important to do that. We can also see this resistance line is in confluence with our 0.618 line, which is obviously the golden line. We can see that clear resistance right there, and so it would be likely that we do see resistance when we go back up. I wouldn't be surprised if we head back up like this, get resistance, maybe come down and then break through. Or if we do break through, maybe we attempt to hold it as support. That's the other thing that you can see take place. You can see we've come back on this support line down here on this line as well. But so if we look at it on the Fibonacci extension, our first level is this $11.20 mark. Then we have a line at $15.60, $20, and $22. So how realistic are these? I would say $11 is definitely realistic. So we think about it, $11, not a massive move, right? A 90% move. It's still really good. What I'm considering when I look at this is which I've done with all my coins, is I think the market cycle's not finished. I think we're going to go for another into 2022, extend into 2022. It might go for 3 months, 6 months, 8 months, 10 months, however long. I think 2022 will be a great year. Bitcoin will reach new all-time highs. Bitcoin will reach potentially 100K or 150K, which would mean that Bitcoin's going to put in 100% move from where it's at, or 150, 200% moves. And therefore, if you think Bitcoin will put in 100% move or 150% move, then you would expect altcoins to outperform that considerably. So you might say 200%, 300%, maybe 500% against that. And obviously, if the market cycle is finished and Bitcoin just comes down to 20K or even lower, well, then we're just not going to see that from majority of altcoins, right? Most altcoins take a big dip, and that'll be the market cycle finish. I don't think that's the case, and so I don't think that that's going to happen. Also, we can look at this line. We can see there we might come a bit lower. I just noticed that. That's pretty important. This kind of trend line up. So we could just come a bit lower and test that line there. We can see it's about $5.70. So even if we trend sideways for a little bit, we just kind of hover on this line like this, hit that support line. That'll then break out of the descending channel, as well as bounce off the support here. That'd be extremely bullish. But as I said, if we see Bitcoin put in all-time highs and get to 100K or 120K, whatever it is, you'd expect altcoins, as they have a lower market cap, to outperform that. Therefore, finding itself somewhere in this range, 100, 150, 60% is actually somewhat quite conservative, really. So $15, I would say, is quite conservative. To be honest, I think we could definitely get to $15 for sand. Even higher than that, up to $20, $22. This still is a maximum of 280%. I could easily see sand putting in that numbers. I mean, we've seen sand make massive moves in the past. We pulled up. We're on the daily time frame at the moment. But when we look at, like, from down here, we look at the move it made. It was a 10x. Sand put in a 10x. So So we've seen it make massive moves. Of course, that's because it was a lower market cap. And so it's a lot easier to do that, I understand that. But I just believe that it can make these big moves again. And then you got to remember that the NFT space is just continuing to grow. The Sandbox is continuing to develop. More people are getting introduced to it and opening their eyes to it. And the metaverse is just expanding at all times. And so that's why we can see massive pumps, because some big news can get released and then you see a massive pump from Sand or from any coin. Once it gets big news, it can help pump the price quite a lot, and that's why we saw these massive moves as the Sandbox is growing. And so therefore, I think a lot of these coins can outperform those of other altcoins that aren't doing much and don't have a lot of news going for them. But I think even coins that don't, like good coins that don't have much news, can still put in a 2 or 3x in 2022 against Bitcoin putting in, let's say, a 2x. Right, Bitcoin puts in 100%. I could see some altcoins that don't have massive move putting in 200, 300%. Whilst coins like Sand could really do higher than that, 400, 500%. Like I would say $20 to $30 is well within range. And then the other thing to remember is, well, Sand has a market cap, I think, of about 5 billion. But if you think Sandbox could crack the top 10, which I highly believe it could, I just did the math, you're looking at about a 5x from where it's at to get into the top 10 at the current prices. And so that would put, Sandbox at $30. That price is Sandbox at $30, which is, we look at the scale, it's actually a pretty massive move from where it's at. We're talking about Sand doing this. It's a pretty solid move, I'm not gonna lie. But obviously this will be extended because of 2022. Like it'd be more of a move like this, likely to get up to $30, a more lengthened move we could see. But I for sure could see Sandbox going to $30, and there's no guarantees it does, of course. I understand that, I'm not too deterministic. I get the Sandbox at $30 is probably, some people would say, overly optimistic and just unrealistic to actually take place. But I think there's definitely potential. And also, if Sand's able to get into the top 10, well, then the market cap of those coins may have gone up in that time period. It might take Sand 3 to 6 months to get to that time, into that top 10. And then the top 10 coins market cap have gone up a lot. And then Sand would have to do the same. And so Sand could even put in more than a 5x, more than a 6x, could find itself in $40, $50. And then we're really talking about, massive moves. And the thing is, like $40 is a 500% move, and then $50 is about 700, 800% moves. There's no guarantee you see that at all. And this would be provided that Bitcoin really has a solid year and maybe gets to 200k or something close to that, and Ethereum puts in a massive move, and the rest of the market is just an extremely bullish year. And then obviously would see a big blow off top from that period, that time as well, and those prices would correct 50, 60, maybe even 70, 80%, and a massive consolidation range of maybe a year. If we see a big, 7-8 month build up in prices, and Sand does get to $40, $50, which is definitely potential with a few pullbacks along the way, of course. But there's obviously no guarantees of that. There's no saying that's at all definite, but I think there's definitely potential for that to take place. We can see on the Sand Bitcoin chart, pretty much same story. Cup and handle forming here, which is good because it just indicates that Sand could be on to outperform Bitcoin as well, which is what we want. Obviously, this key resistance line we need to break, and if we break this, this cup and handle could play off and Sand can go on a nice run, which I've just spoken about and explained why and how I think Sand could outperform Bitcoin and head to much higher highs for sure. As for Bitcoin, currently holding some strong support. We're at $47,000. The support along this line, also this yellow line across. Yeah, $47,000. Ideally, we break this line right here for Bitcoin. On the short term, this is the major resistance, 52,000. Once we break this, And if we can hold it as support and get above that bull market support band, that's where I can see this big move starting to play off again. And that's where we start the big move upwards in the next leg of the cycle, I guess. That's what I'm waiting for. And that's when coins like Sand could really take off, right? If Bitcoin was to pump in a week above the bull market support band, that could give Sand that push to get above this line. Then it will come down, hold it as support, and then goes again. And obviously, as I said, resistance along this all-time high level, and then try to look for that $9.40 Sand, that top price up there. We can always try to get to. So very bullish on Sand. I think it's in for a great year, 2022. I understand that a lot of my predictions might be a bit absurd and a bit crazy, but I mean, Sand has put in all-time highs. We've seen coins do this before. Big news can help coins make super parabolic moves. As I said, NFT space, crypto space, it's all growing very rapidly. More people are getting introduced to it every day. And I think with the metaverse developing, some of these coins can really do extremely well. So I think it's in for a great year. Obviously, time will tell. We'll come back to this video in 3 months, 6 months, maybe more, and might say, oh yeah, that was a few predictions were right and a few weren't, or maybe say the whole video just was overly optimistic and not realistic at all, or maybe say it was a fair video. You never know. Time will tell. We'll come back, as I said, and reassess. I'll keep you updated in Sandbox though. Let me know what you think of Sand. How you think it's going to go. Please like the video, comment guys, subscribe to the channel. I do appreciate it, and I'll see you later guys. Enjoy.